I think it's significant that both spicy and drama reference the genre of films and movies in production, suggesting that there is some kind of director behind all of this. Who or what has replaced Novice? What if all of this was a coup? A Kwangyan coup?
요즘 나타나는 이상현상에 대해 어떻게 생각하니? 그냥 아무 상관 없어요. 그냥 있는 일인데요, 뭐.
The strange phenomenon is, quote, nothing new, says Winter in the teaser for the My World album. We actually never find out what exactly is causing the strange phenomenon in the end. It could very well just be Novice's presence in the real world causing reality to be distorted, or there's a greater implication to all of this happening that has not been addressed yet. People complain that we haven't seen much of Kwangya. We've been pretty much cut off from it ever since Girls, but is that intentional? The severance of Novice's jurisdiction over Kwangya after episode 3 of the SM Culture universe renders us completely without a pulse of what's going on in the flat or Kwangya. So what is going on in Kwangya? And how does My World and drama fit into the aespa story? That's what I want to discuss with you today. In the SM Culture universe episodes, in order to supposedly defeat the Black Mamba, Ning Ning transports an exabyte of data from the real world into Kwangya. Using this graphic I found from Backblaze by Patrick Thomas, an exabyte is an extraordinary amount of data, equivalent to the size of the sun. That's how much data it took to defeat the Black Mamba, which is weird. Hear me out here. With this in mind, we also learn from the SM Culture Universe episodes that Kwangya is essentially artificial intelligence operating as a plane of existence. Kwangya is ever-changing, borderline sentient in some ways, as it learns more and more from the people and things it encounters. It's very similar to machine learning AI in this way. The more it learns, the more it grows and adapts. My theory is that Ning Ning transferring that data into Kwangya to defeat the Black Mamba has also relinquished that data to Kwangya itself, giving it near direct access to what the real world is via the internet and its data from all over the world. Here's where the math isn't adding up to me. Kwangya is a source of infinite data, which would make an exabyte of data look small in comparison, of course. If the Black Mamba is a product of Kwangya, how is it that data, which is something Kwangya observably benefits from and already has in abundance, is the thing that is needed to kill it? If the problem is that the Black Mamba is regenerating itself with data similar to how Kwangya does, my question or concern is, how or why is it that data ends up being what kills it? Data from the real world at that, in which the Black Mamba is already a manifestation of data from the real world. Ning Ning and Giselle identify that the algorithm that needs to be surpassed in order to defeat the Black Mamba is by sourcing data from major cities in the real world to Korea to transfer it to Kwangya and overload the Black Mamba's defenses. The conflict in the third episode of the SM Culture universe is that the Black Mamba as an entity behaves in the same way that Kwangya does. Attacking it directly will cause it to regenerate itself. My suspicion here is that the quote algorithm described to defeat the Black Mamba had to have been programmed or set up for a very specific reason. Why is it that data from the real world can overwhelm and allow it to be defeated? Why was the algorithm set up to be that way? And who or what is responsible for creating said algorithms? It may very well be just the defense mechanism that the Black Mamba set in place to protect itself, but it had to have been aware that Ning Ning, as a human from the real world, was capable of identifying and surpassing the algorithm, right? This part does not make sense to me. Again, considering Kwangya is described as a place of infinite data, how is it that a non-infinite amount of data, despite how large an exabyte is capable of defeating a product of Kwangya? Something seems very sketchy here, and my conspiracy is that the Black Mamba was some kind of ruse to get data from the real world, given everything we know so far, including that Novice herself conveniently no longer has direct access to the flat or Kwangya. My even crazier conspiracy is that I think the real world we've seen since the Spicy album may very well be Kwangya's interpretation of the real world with access to all of its data. Like aespa are still stuck in Kwangya and believe that they've returned to the real world, but they just aren't aware of it yet because the exabyte of information has allowed Kwangya to assume the appearance of the real world. Effectively, everything they see is a Kwangyan simulation of the real world. It's like Kwangya is playing these Sims with aespa. Moreover, Novice made the decision to be relegated to the real world after breaking the cosmological laws, and now without her power, is not able to sense that all of them are still there. Again, perhaps the Black Mamba's algorithm was made intentionally to the point where Novice would have to intervene in Kwangya in order to buy aespa time to surpass the algorithm, and effectively guarantee her removal from the seat of power in the flat. Who or what has replaced Novice? What if all of this was a coup? A Kwangyan coup? oh, this would explain the strange phenomenon happening in my world that we saw in the teasers. How is it that all of these randomly generated things, which was originally characteristic to Kwangya, are now happening in the real world? This would make the album title, My World, a bit of a double entendre. It could very well be the world of Mai's or Kwangya, just in the form of the real world. It would also explain the girls' album and its song order. Before I lose you, before I go too much off the rails, hear me out. This has always been very interesting to me. Taking a look at the girls' album tracklist, we have the title track Girls, where the Black Mamba is supposedly defeated, and then Illusion, which supposedly comes after Girls in this story, and then we strangely get Lingo, Life's Too Short, and ICU. All songs that sound like we're already in the real world, and we've pretty much been here ever since. I think it's significant that the last Kwangya-based song we ever got was a song called Illusion, right? Sung from the perspective of the Black Mamba. Everything is not as it seems. Perhaps the Black Mamba was never defeated, or perhaps the Black Mamba's defeat was just a stepping stone to the larger plan. Kwangya always intended for the Black Mamba to exist, as well as for it to be defeated with an outlandish amount of data from the real world. The algorithm to defeat it was intentionally set up, made itself understandable to aespa, and now Kwangya has that data because aespa followed through with it. Either aespa are unaware that they're trapped in a simulation of the real world, or perhaps Kwangya's acquisition of the data has allowed it to envelop itself around the actual real world. Both of these things present a kind of danger, and also explain the strange phenomenon from the My World teasers. With all of this in mind, aespa's ambiguous use of the word My in these last two albums seems very significant. Welcome to My World, as well as its Starts With You, My Drama. The simulation theory would explain a lot of what drama is. As neutral and ambiguous as it seems to aespa's story, it could very well be comparing the simulation of the real world to a dramatic film or movie. I think it's significant that both spicy and drama reference the genre of films and movies in production, suggesting that there is some kind of director behind all of this. But before I get too ahead of myself, this is what I think, right now at least. That's my theory about what's going on right now. Kwangya is still somewhere in the background in the wake of this My World arc, and I'm excited as ever to see where this story goes. Thank you for watching if you did. Let me know if you have any ideas or theories about this, if it seems too crazy or not. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you next time.